Now we're going through the 2019 ESPN mega projections.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Didn't have my headphones on. Can you just say what's going on again?
They're the ESPN 2019 NFL mega projections.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, great. Yeah,
yes.
All right, I'm in.
We've already gone through how in over 1 million simulations the Miami Dolphins won a Super Bowl once. We talked about who the Super Bowl favorites are and most likely Super Bowl matchups are. Do you guys care about draft projections or strength of schedule? Neither of which do they include the Minnesota Vikings in the discussion? Or can we skip right over that and get to the Vikings?
I say
let's
you
just
can
go to the Vikings.
Yeah.
All right.
Skip that.
All right. Let's go
Juicy
to
stuff,
the
Ronnie.
Vikings then. And what they give is the projected number of wins, their chances to make the playoffs, their chances to win the division, and their chances to win the Super Bowl. The Minnesota Vikings, they have winning 8.5 games. A 45%.
I would have said that's not possible, but that's kind of what they did last year. Is win
A-
8.5 games.
Week 2 in Green Bay. Just wait for it.
A 45% chance to make the playoffs, a 26% chance to win the division, and just a 2% chance to win the Super Bowl. They did do a little write-up on the NFC North as a whole because they say that the two most compelling divisional races will be the AFC and the NFC North. And
I agree with that.
As
Me
for
too.
the Vikings, the NFC North, they say over in the NFC, the defending champion North Bears are in a slightly more advantageous position as 38% favorites, though the Packers at 27% and Vikings at 26% are both seen as more viable contenders for the throne.
I think that's very fair, though. I think that's incredibly fair. In fact, the night the schedule came out, I think I had the Vikings at maybe 7 or 8 wins, and I got it to 9. But 8.5 to me is incredibly fair. And I do think that they hit on one important thing is this division is going to be fun. I think Detroit's a dumpster fire and they're out. But between the Bears, who I think are going to take a step back, the Vikings, who I honestly at this point, you guys don't know. I just don't know. And the Packers, who I firmly expect are going to rebound and be much improved. This division and those 3 teams, I think, are going to be very interesting to watch.
See, I kind of disagree on the Detroit Lions just being a dumpster fire. Now, I don't believe in Matt Patricia. Of course not. I mean, when you act the way that he did last year, you're really not convincing me that you're going to be a great head coach.
Do me a favor, just kind of sit up and just like have a little respect for the process, okay?
I'm working on my posture.
But the additions that they made on the defensive side, getting themselves another weapon with Marvin Jones coming back healthy, he was hurt last year. I think they're a little bit more dangerous, and they do have some talent in the backfield. Last year, for whatever reason, they were running LeGarrette Blount all the time, and that was just senseless and baffling. I don't think that they'll do that again. I'm not saying that they're going to win the division. That would be stunning. That would go under the category of stuff that you never could have seen coming, the Lions winning the division. It's just, could I see them being an 8-8 team that beats you in Detroit and kind of surprises you? I think I could with the addition of Trey Flowers and then the trade they made last year for Damon Harrison. And do not underestimate Damon Harrison and the interior defensive lines of these other teams.
Is that Snacks?
Yes, it is. As we're
Never call him Damon again.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, why
Snacks
use
Harrison.
His
Damon
name is
when
Snacks.
His Twitter name is @Snacks, by the way. Did
That's
you know that?
amazing.
That
I'm
is
going to go
amazing.
follow
one
him
of the
right
great
now
nicknames
just
for
for
So-
that. I'm not even kidding.
Snacks Harrison,
Hold on.
Kenny Clark, Mike Daniels, Akeem Hicks.
Followed.
This is where the NFC North is going to be won or lost for the Vikings is with Garrett Bradbury. Hey, welcome to the NFL. Here's 3 of the top 7 players at that position that you got to play 6 out of those 16 games. And we know with the pressure and the ability to run, all those things are going to matter big time with Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. That is what I am most interested in for the NFC North matchups is just how the interior of the Vikings offensive line handles those defenses.
I did the same thing. Snacks Harrison followed.
@Snacks. Oh, I already followed him. Yeah.
You got to follow a guy.
79,000 followers for
he's-
Damon Harrison
he's
Sr.
solid.
at
He's the
Snacks.
best.
That's solid. That's really
Hashtag
solid.
God-fearing,
And
too.
you know the story, right? With how he got to be Snacks Harrison?
I just assume
Was
he likes to snack.
Well, there's a lot of big guys in the NFL. He is particularly large, but he was walking through the Jets facility with Rice Krispie treats tucked in his socks. And Rex Ryan saw him, and Rex Ryan started calling him Snacks.
That's amazing.
And good for Rex. At the end there, Rex had to be good for something. That was it. A good nickname. Giving out a good nickname.
I'll always defend Rex Ryan. I'll always defend
Because you're
him.
Buffalo Bills.
No, because
Why?
the most Buffalo
fell
Bills
off.
fans don't like Rex Ryan because they think it was just a joke and he was a carnival barker.
He
But
sorta was.
there's 2 reasons. One, Tyrod Taylor was never good. Never. You can write as many pieces as you want about whatever his grades were on PFF or whatever else. He was never, ever good. Couldn't win with him. And Rex Ryan got a competitive team that first year out of them. And also, just from in general, as a person, treated everyone in the organization really, really well. And even though he made some mistakes, like hiring his dopey brother,
That's
Rob,
no football coach right there. That's supposed to treat people well.
That's what I mean, is that from the way he treated people behind the scenes, he was the exact opposite of what Doug Marrone was there. And I will always defend him because of that.
All right.
And how about this from a reporter standpoint? He told his players, you can trash me. I don't care. You can say whatever you want. My feelings won't get hurt.
And occasionally they did
and
exactly
they did.
that.
And they did. And he stayed to his word.
Can you imagine Zim? Hey, guys, go ahead, trash me. I don't care. Zim would be like, I can't do that.
So I respect him being self-assured enough to say, hey, if you want to say something, then you can.
His defenses with the Jets were absolutely fantastic.
They were really good. Really,
and he
really
had
good.
ideas about schematics and alignments that at that time most people did not.
Yep, especially the couple of years they had Darrelle Revis. That defense was just top notch. Okay, so we're all okay with the 8.5 wins. We think that's in the neighborhood of where they're at.
I mean, I think it's the perfect over/under. I had them. They're giving 10 when I went through the schedule.
They're giving them less than a 50% chance to make the playoffs and only a 2% chance to win the Super Bowl.
I mean, it seems weird, but they missed the playoffs last year.
I know.
And the division should be improved, not worse.
Right.
If Chicago comes back, that's fine, but Green Bay's going to ascend. And if Coller's right, you're throwing Detroit in at 8-8, 500 team. I think that's incredibly fair.
I mean, last year you got 2 wins against Green Bay, 2 wins against Detroit. I don't expect that again.
As a Bears fan, my first instinct when I looked at this thing was they are shorting my Bears, have them going from 12 wins down to 9 wins and only a 5% chance to win the Super Bowl.
I actually totally agree with that.
I was just going to say, when you look at the rest of the projections, they actually, after those 5 teams we talked about earlier, Chiefs, Saints, Patriots, Rams, and Colts, they give the Bears the next best chance at winning a Super Bowl. I think the 9 wins, 9.1 wins to be exact, is more a product of their schedule. They have one of the tougher schedules in the NFL.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I'm not a believer in Mitch Trubisky.
And I can understand why. I can see why. He hasn't done anything to make believers yet.
And last year, that defense was incredibly good. But you know what? And this happens every year in this league. Things broke right as well.
Yep.
And you can never predict back-to-back years of things going right. In this league, it usually doesn't happen. There's adversity and things go wrong.
There's also the fact that they scored a bunch of points on defense. And anytime a team scores a bunch of points off turnovers,
it's hard to replicate.
Right, exactly.
Who did they score some of those points on defense against?
Don't recall.
I forget.
Don't recall anyone specifically.
Everybody.
I'm almost 50.
Probably most of
don't
teams.
feel bad.
Nobody in the division.
Okay.
Really.
Yeah. No, I don't feel bad at all.
But the biggest X factor, X factor in the division, I think we would all agree, is Aaron Rodgers. If that guy is back to being Aaron Rodgers, that's probably a 10-win football team.
Courtney and I were discussing this earlier. I want your take, Ramie. Why didn't they draft some receivers and tight ends and stuff? I mean, they drafted Jay Sternberger. That was it. But really no offensive additions for Aaron Rodgers.
I think they believe in the wide receivers that they have. Starting with Davante Adams, who I think flies way under the radar. Yeah. I think he's a top 5 wide receiver in this league easily.
Too aggressive, but very good. Yeah.
I think it might not be aggressive enough. I think you might.
I go top 15. But
okay. All right. But even that being said, I like the 2 rookies who they drafted last year, and Equinemius St. Brown and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who. It's Marquez, and he'll tell you it's Marquez.
Really? It's Marquez.
Yeah, and he'll tell you.
Wayne Larravee's got a tough job, man.
My apologies to Marquez.
Oh, he's not listening. Don't worry.
You don't know that. He could have
the app. You don't know that. You do not know that.
He could have heard the explosions.
He might have that Score North mobile app.
He's got Alexa at home, and it was triggered when Ramie came on and said it. Open Alexa.
But I like their receiver core. I do, right. And I don't know what they're doing at tight end.
I don't know why they didn't get rid of Jimmy Graham.
He was
just pathetic.
That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
He looks like he can't play anymore.
And they could have without really costing them a whole lot of money. So
on the defensive side, they did everything they should have done. Zadarius Smith is an amazing player, and people are going to find this out when they play against the Vikings. Preston Smith, good edge rusher. The guys that they drafted have some talent, especially the safety. But to not add anything on the offensive side when, I mean, you're relying on guys who weren't top picks or anything like that to be great receivers. I don't know.
Guys, I've really enjoyed going through these mega projections with you.
Say it again.
I said mega projections.
Oh, mega
projections. If you missed any portion of this, check out scorenorth.com or the Score North mobile